Hey everybody, I am so sorry I'm late. And I'm not just late, I'm like real late. Oh my gosh, I hate the different time zones. I don't know what I was thinking. Kept saying 8 o'clock, but in my mind, I kept thinking 9 o'clock, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry. Forgive me, it is super duper duper late. So I'm so sorry. So far, nobody's on, so everybody probably gave up on me. Forgive me. Let me log in as my other self so I can moderate. I am so sorry. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Like, what the heck was I thinking? Like, seriously. Crazy. Ugh. I cannot believe I'm this late starting this. Please, please, please forgive me. Because, my mind... yeah, my mind is nuts right now. Apparently, yeah, just completely nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. Anyway, I hope everybody read the book. I hope you all enjoyed the book. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Let me know you read it. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me turn on this other me so I can moderate. All right, there we go. I think that's right. Okay. All right, so I am on. I need to put this up here. But yeah, so crazy late start. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I was thinking 9, but saying 8, and I don't know how that transpired, but I was saying 8 and thinking 9, so I have no idea. But anywho, thank you for tuning in, even though it's crazy late. So, the book, The Alchemist, by, was it Polio? Hold on. Is it Polio? I can't remember the name of the author. Good Lord, I'm just all kinds of crazy right now. Anywho, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. I'm getting messages, sorry. Sorry, I'm getting messages. Okay, there we go. So yeah, did you read the book? Let me know. Thumbs up, high five, or something that let me know that you read the book. And if you enjoyed the book, hopefully the volume is good. I'm eating grapes and mandarin oranges. Cuties, little cuties. Anywho, the book was excellent. Like I said earlier today, I listened to it for the second time on the drive from Havasu to Flagstaff, because it's only 3 hours, like 2 hours and 55 minutes. And I love the characters. So Santiago is the main character. And he's a shepherd. Or, yeah, is it a shepherd? Yeah, he's a shepherd. Hopefully you read the book. And he doesn't mind being a shepherd. He likes being a shepherd. He actually went to seminary school because his family thought that would be good for him, because I guess his family was farmers. And they thought seminary, because they're just, poor, lowly farmers, and seminary would be good for their family. It would, I guess, be better for him than being a farmer. But he wanted to travel and have adventure. Therefore, he decided that he would be a shepherd instead. And so he decided he had 60 sheep, I think it was. 60 sheep. I think he had 60 sheep. From Spain, doing his thing, traveling, seeking out food and water for his sheep, shearing them and selling the wool for money, blah, blah, blah. But he loved to read, so he's always reading. And so he meets the king. Hopefully you read the book. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to give details. It's a long story. I can't go through all of it. He meets the king, and the king sets him on a path to find a treasure in Egypt. Go back a little. He has a dream about a treasure, but doesn't complete the dream. He wakes up before he finds out where the treasure is. So the king sends him on this journey to Egypt for the treasure. And he meets some interesting characters along the way and has some interesting things happen to him to develop himself as a person along the way as well. So he meets the palm reader, and she says that his treasure is in Egypt, but he needs to give her a tenth of it. He has to go to the pyramids, and whatever he finds, he has to give her 1/10. She doesn't really tell him anything about how to find the treasure, where exactly it is, just that it's in Egypt near the pyramids or whatever. Hello to those that are just coming on. So, he ends up selling a sheep to get the money to go to Egypt, to Africa. He gets to Africa, and he loses all his money. Hey, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like. So he gets to Africa, and he ends up losing his money to a young thief. So he has to go. I'm sorry I'm late, y'all. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. I was saying 8 o'clock in my mind, but with my mouth, but 9 o'clock in my head. So please forgive me for being so late. So he gets robbed when he first gets to Africa, and he has no money to get to the pyramids in Egypt. So he does a little odd job for this guy in a crystal shop, which I love the man in the crystal shop. Like, this book has so many good little tidbits in it, little sayings and little good little nuggets of wisdom and thought-provoking things that you're like, like, I need to get this book in a paperback so I can highlight some of these little juicy nuggets. Anywho, he gets robbed. He goes to work for the crystal shop merchant, who's up on a hill, who's not doing very good business at all. He's making just enough probably to get by. The merchant has had the shop for a long time. His dreams and aspirations are pretty much gone. He's always wanted to go to Mecca, but, he never has gone. So Santiago, is all fresh, new ideas, young, exuberant, and he comes with all these ideas of how to make more money in the shop. And the guy at first is like, no, we don't want to do that. I'm just a lonely merchant of the crystal glassware and stuff. It's fine. So, what does he start with? He starts with the tea, because the people get to the top of the hill where the shop are, and they're thirsty. So he says, let's serve tea in the crystal glasses, because then the people will admire the glasses they're drinking out of it and then possibly buy it. And that is a big hit. So he starts selling more and more and more. Yes, you are so right. And it is a lot of spiritual, it's a lot of Christianity and Muslim interweaved in this story. And you hear tidbits from the Quran and tidbits from the Bible. So yeah, very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Like when they go to the, when he finally gets the money saved up to go to the pyramids, and he meets the Englishman. So he makes the crystal shop a success. He saves up enough money. The guy even has to hire more people to work in the shop because it's so successful. So he saves up his money. He finally decides to leave after almost a year of working in this shop to go to the pyramids. And he goes to to join a caravan. And he meets an Englishman who has all these books, who's so smart. He's looking for the Alchemist because he wants to learn the mysteries of alchemy and turning lead into gold. That's his biggest thing. He wants to turn lead into gold. I'm going to keep eating, just so you guys know. So I might be smacking. He wants to turn lead into gold. And Santiago's like, you need to be more aware of the world around you. Get your head out of the books. Pay attention to just, the caravan. Pay attention to the people in the caravan. How the caravan travels. The guy that's leading our caravan. Pay attention to him. How he watches the desert and decides how we travel, when we travel, that kind of thing. So they decide to swap up, and Santiago starts reading some of his books, and the guy starts to pay attention to the caravan, and I think they each learn a little something different. Takes them out of their comfort zone, but they also learn a little something about their different ways to view, different perspectives, different ways to view the world. So that's interesting. Then they get to the Oasis, and there's war breaking out amongst the tribes. And they get to the Oasis in the desert where they're going to camp out, and they have to stay longer than they really want to because war has broken out, and it's not safe for them to travel the desert anymore right now. So Santiago falls in love with a girl there. He also notices, as he's off on a walk, some hawks in the sky, and he has a vision. I love how they interweave the spirituality in the book, how he Paulio, how he interweaves the spirituality in this book. And it's not like overtly religious. It's little things from both faiths that weave into us, that weave in to this story. It's a really good story. Hey, Charlotte. She's saying, story teaches a lesson. We search sometimes for what we already have, and we miss out on our blessings. Possibly, I could see that. I could see that. I guess I could see that a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I feel like Santiago had to go through this whole journey and end up right where he started, back in his home area at that same place where he spent the night with the sheep, at the same church, digging at the same tree to find his treasure, because he needed to become a different person in order to get the treasure. I think if he had gotten the treasure right in the beginning, he would have squandered it. He wouldn't have been as wise. He wouldn't have learned those life lessons. So he had to go through that journey of going to Africa and having all those bad things happening to him, experiencing the loss of the money. He was robbed 3 times. 3 times. He was robbed 3 times. 3 times he had plenty of money to be well off, in the time frame that this takes place. But 3 times he lost his money. 3 times. So I think he had to become a different, well-rounded person to receive that big treasure in the end. And he had to learn some life lessons, and he had to learn some self lessons about himself as well before he could get that big treasure in the end. So that's just my take on it. But so the way he looks at and I love how the spirituality in this book also brings in the elements of the world, the earth. So he talks to the heavens or the sun. He talks to the wind as well. So it's like it's all interconnected. Just like I always have said, I'm no longer considering myself a Christian. I'm more of a spiritual person because I believe that we're all interconnected as humans, as people, as the earth. We're all interconnected with it. It's all weaves together. All weaves together. So M. Garcia is saying, we are all trying to find happiness by escaping. We all try to find happiness by escaping for happiness when all along it was right in front of him where he first started, by the sycamore tree. Yeah, it was there. It was there, but I mean, it was not an obvious treasure. I guess if you want to get really super deep, you could say it was a treasure because it was a church that was dilapidated with a tree growing out of it. Maybe, I don't know. You could say that, I guess. And so you should see treasure and beauty in everything. You could say that. But he wouldn't have known about the actual physical treasure chest of jewels and whatnot. He would have never known about that because it was buried. So he wouldn't have been able to find that out. It wasn't revealed to him for a purpose, I believe. That's just my take on it. It wasn't revealed to him for a purpose because he had to go on the journey. The journey was paramount to receiving the treasure. There was a reason he went on that particular journey, because he could have just journeyed around Spain, but they took him out of his country land. The situation took him out of his country land to a whole nother place. He learned a whole nother language. He learned to speak with his with more than words. You know what I'm saying? He learned, but he did learn another language. He learned Arabic, but he learned to speak in the beginning with more than words. And he learned to speak to the earth, to his surroundings as well. And he got to meet some different people. I think that was good too, because I think you learn as you meet other people, because the old man in the crystal shop taught him some lessons. I believe even the Englishman taught him some lessons, and the Alchemist definitely taught him some lessons. So he had to meet those people to learn some lessons. So that's true. The treasure was found in the journey. Freedom Tribe is saying the treasure was found in the journey, and that he never would have met the Alchemist had he not taken the journey. Exactly. He never would have met the Alchemist. He never would have learned those lessons that the Alchemist, those tidbits, those drops of gems, those gems that were dropped by each individual person he met. He would have never learned those different things. That's true. You have to follow your instincts, M. Garcia. That is true. Your own personal journey, your own personal passion. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, even in the very beginning, when his father wanted him to be, I guess, a preacher, because he went to seminary, he decided that's not what he wanted, because he always knew he wanted to travel. And so the best way for him to earn money for himself is to be a shepherd and travel. Joe is saying, I heard Wayne Dyer say something that stuck with me and applies to this book. He had to go through everything he went through to get where he ended up. The proof is that he did it. Yeah, exactly. So it just goes to show that even when you have difficult times, and it's interesting how this kind of goes back to what I was trying to relate to you in the 3 live videos that would not cooperate. Even though I had the journey I had, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, it brought me to the point where I am right now. So the neglect, the abuse, the bad relationships, the 2 failed marriages, all of that, having my son, everything that I've ever experienced in my life, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, horrific, whatever you want to call them, each one of those shaped me into the person that I am right now, talking with you, sharing this journey with you. So I kind of I have forgiven my mother, even though I don't forget. I choose not to reach out to her anymore. I've tried twice over the span of 6 years we haven't talked, and it's not reciprocated. It has not been reciprocated. So I'm done. My conscience is clear. I have no guilt. I feel very fortunate to be where I am right now, but I've done all that I can for that relationship. And so that relationship is now done as far as I'm concerned, unless something changes on her end. And that's unfortunate. It has to be that way. But it is. So the journey I had, be it a hard journey, there's a lot of life lessons that I've learned. And there's some that I'm still learning to this day. And I know we can each say that. I mean, everybody can say that. Sometimes you have to go through things like Santiago got robbed 3 times. Maybe you got to learn a specific lesson more than once. Maybe you have to go through it multiple times before you actually understand it and get something from it, or not repeat it. And that's not to say that you fully get the lesson. There are things that I went through in my 20s that I got right away, and went through other things in my 30s that I had gone through in my 20s thinking, why didn't I learn that? I went through this already. And now I'm in my 40s, and though I have some repercussions from the stuff in my 20s and my 30s that still haunt me, like bad credit, that's not going nowhere, and I'm not even worried about it at this point in my life. I really am not. There are things that I'm like, I am still learning that lesson. That lesson has yet to be completely learned and mastered, if you will, for lack of a better word. So I don't know if we ever get to the point where we completely have it all. I think we get better in some areas, and I feel like in other areas, maybe it just takes us a little longer. And that's okay. That's okay. Joe is saying, and you are breaking that chain of neglect with your son and granddaughter, so your journey is productive. Don't even talk to me about bad credit, LOL. Yeah, I'm not even worried about bad credit. Hey, Kathy. Kathy came to the meetup in Flagstaff. Hey, Kathy. So yeah, I think it's a matter of, and so I try to talk to my son about some of the things that I went through, not necessarily to prevent him from going through it, but to say, hey, I see you're in a situation. I've been in this situation before. Let me tell you what I did. When this first time I went through it, failed miserably. The second time I went through it, a little bit better than the first time, but not completely. And then, I went through this thing one more time, but let me show you how I ended up making it better. So that he kind of gleans from that. And then what he can do is decide when he's in that situation, hey, I remember my mom telling me about this. I remember her saying X, Y, Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and maybe do it different or vice versa or whatever. Let me turn the volume down on my text messages because I'm hearing the thing go off. So I think it's you should always share the lessons you learned with other people who are willing to listen, especially your children, even when they're not willing to listen. The best time to have conversations I learned with your kids is in the car because they can't go nowhere. Me and my son have had some of the best, most intense, deep conversations on the ride somewhere. Whether I was dropping him somewhere, whether we were running errands, they can't go anywhere. They're trapped in the vehicle with you. They kind of have to listen whether they want to or not because it's not like you can turn your ears off. And they get something out of it. Even when you think they don't, they get something out of it. Those things stick with them. Just like the negative stuff people say to their kids sticks with them, the good and the positive and the lessons stick with them too. They may not in the moment know that it stuck with them, but later on, something will happen and they'll say, gosh, I remember my mom, dad, telling me this. I remember this. I remember this exact same thing. They were talking to me about this. So always share your lesson. And don't be afraid to be open and honest with your kids. I think that's one. I'm not saying be their friend. I'm not an advocate for being your child's friend because I am not your friend. I am not your companion, and I am not your peer. I'm your parent. But I still think you should be open and honest about, because you're a parent doesn't mean you're perfect, and they need to realize that nobody's perfect. Not even your parents are perfect. And as soon as you let them know that you're not perfect, hey, I'm first-time parent, and I am going through this for the first time. I only had one child, so I told him, look, the good and the bad's gonna happen here. I don't have another child. I ain't have no guinea pig. It's just you. So I feel like the lessons, let me get back to the book. So the lessons that Santiago learned, we can all get something from those lessons. We can all glean a little something. There are lots of nuggets and gems in this book that you can glean from it. Even if it's just listening to what's going on around you. If that's the only thing you learned, pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to what others do and say, and don't always have your face in a device. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to others. When you're in a public setting, people watching is the best fun. Pay attention to how people interact with each other or don't interact with each other. Pay attention to that. Freedom Tribe is saying, in chapter 9, Santiago asks the alchemist what he still needs to learn, and the alchemist says, what you still need to know is this: before a dream is realized... Oh, you didn't type the rest. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm going to eat while you type. I'm having fruit. What? Don't leave us hanging. Oh no. We're all hanging with bated breath. We're waiting. There we go. What you still need to know is this. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dream, wait till you type it all, then I'll read it all again. But that is true. There are tests along the way. You'll get tested. And people that are religious or have faith in something bigger than themselves realize that a lot of times you'll be tested. Your faith will be tested as well. Your faith in people will be tested. Your faith in yourself will be tested. All right, here we go. I'm going to read the whole thing. Chapter 9. Santiago asks the alchemist what he still needs to learn. The alchemist says, what you still need to know is this. Before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does this not because it is evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dream, master the lessons we've learned as we move toward that dream. That is the point of which most people give up. That's true. Who wants to be tested? Who wants to endure testing? Testing, it hurts. Testing is painful. Testing is not cool. You have to be prepared for testing. And if you're not prepared for testing, just like in school, you have to be prepared. You have to study for a test. If you're not prepared for testing by learning the life lessons and taking heed to the life lessons, when the test comes and you're not prepared, you will fail and you will bow out and you will give up and you will say later for this, I'm out. I don't need this. I don't need whatever's at the end of the rainbow. I don't need whatever treasure or blessing or good juju or whatever is coming in the end because I can't stand this testing. So yes, you need to be prepared for testing. M. Garcia saying, I recalled in the book that the man Santiago met told him that the world's greatest lie is that at a certain point in our lives, we will lose control on what is happening to us, and then our lives are controlled by fate. Interesting. That's pretty deep. Let me read that again. The world's greatest lie is that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control on what is happening to us, and then our lives are controlled by fate. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about fate because sometimes I think a certain situation is going to be no matter what. And it was fated to be, it was written to be, it was destined to be, no matter what happened before it or after it. So I don't know. Fate is almost like destiny, you know. I feel like some things are just inherently bound to happen no matter what, and those are just already written type things. Freedom Tribe says testing is the marrow of life. You cannot realize your true humanhood without it. That's true. Joe wants to say, I know people who have given up days before they would have made it. That is so true. When you are not ready for the test and you think the test should have been over already and you should have gotten your prize or your grade, you give up and, if you just had stuck with it a teeny bit longer, you would have had it. You are so right about that one. I have been there, done that, and seen it from other people as well. M. Garcia saying, I also believe that many people are in such a rush that they fail to even realize that there's always something new in front of us every single day. We are so busy running and rushing that we fail to see the beauty around us growing on a daily basis. It is written, Mektob. How does he say that? Mektab. Yeah, that's what the guy in the book said, yeah. That's true. Judith is saying everything happens for a reason. Hello, Wayne. M. Garcia says there are so many people who give up just 3 steps away from their dream. That's true. It's amazing how, my thing is, when you've gone through that much of a test or a trial, whatever you call it, when you look back and see how much you went through, how is it that that doesn't fuel you on to go a little further? Like, man, I went through all that for that long. I can keep going. I can keep going. I know back, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I stopped listening to Steve Harvey. And, sorry, I have some grape skin on my tooth. There was something that Steve Harvey said on his show one day. He said something about looking in the rearview mirror and when you're driving. And when you look in the rearview mirror when you're driving, you tend to just glance in it for a second and then you keep looking through the windshield. You can't drive your car while looking in the rearview mirror the whole time because you can't see where you're going. And I kind of understand what he was saying, but I feel like sometimes when you glance in that rearview mirror, you need to take 1 or 2 more seconds to see how far you've come before you look forward again and pay attention to where you've come, so that can push you and propel you forward even more, because you can say, man, I've come a long way. I can keep going. Because if I went through all that, I can keep going. And then you look in that windshield and you keep going because your destination is closer and closer and closer. But you don't forget to glance in the rearview mirror and see how far you've come. Don't forget to do that on occasion. Danielle saying, this convo is so applicable to something I'm going through right now. I'm struggling to get across the finish line, limping cross. You know what, Danielle? It's okay if you are limping, hobbling. I don't care if you crawling on hands and knees. Keep going forward. That's the main thing. Don't stop and don't go back. If you keep going forward, then that's all that matters. Keep going forward. Because when that perseverance, when the universe and the powers that be see that you're not giving up, even though they're testing you to the point of making you want to give up, but you keep going forward, even though it's slowly, you're still going forward, that's when they will release the blessing, the promise, the whatever to you. Because they'll say, okay, we tested her good. We put a lot on her, but look, she's still going. Like, dang. Remember when we tested so-and-so? At this point, they gave up, but she's still going. All right, release it. Let it go. Let her have it. Let her have it. She's still going. You got to keep going, Danielle. Keep going. Freedom says, the boy says, my heart's afraid it will have to suffer. And the Alchemist says, tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. That is so true. Sometimes the fear of something is greater than the actual thing. Really. Some of y'all are sitting around afraid to take a step towards your dream of living in a vehicle. Why? Because fear has you crippled. Fear has you tied to the stuff. You sit around in your house and you look at the stuff, and fear has you tied to it. Fear of what other people will say about you living in a vehicle by choice. What they'll think of you. How they'll look at you. If they'll talk about you behind your back with each other, your friends and family. Will they think you're crazy? Fear of things paralyzes you from doing. And if you don't do, how then will you know? How will you know? How will you know if it's for you? How will you know if you will love it? How do you know if you'll be successful at it? How do you know if you don't go and do and make steps to move towards it? Get rid of the crap. I don't care if you got to go pay 4 months on a storage unit and put everything in storage until you are 100% sure. Go do that. Go do that. Find the cheapest storage you can and put everything in storage except for the stuff you need in your vehicle and hit the road. And after 4 months, if you love it, you go back to that storage and you empty it out. You call Goodwill or somebody or Salvation Army to come bring their truck and you get rid of stuff you don't want and need. You give away stuff to family and friends. And if there's precious cargo that you must keep, you find someone who will keep it for you, or you get a storage locker, a small locker that's not going to cost you more than $50 a month, and keep it in there. Fear will paralyze you from moving forward in anything. Job, marriage, having children, adopting children, anything. Stepping out into a new relationship, moving across the country because you want to live somewhere else. Whatever it is you are struggling with and afraid of, fear will always make you doubt yourself. It'll make you doubt things around you, circumstances around you, and it will keep you stagnant where you are. And you will never, ever, you can always go back. You can always go back. You can always go back. The only two things you can't go back from marriage. You can get a divorce. But you can't go back from having kids. If you have kids and you ain't cut out to be a parent, I don't know what to tell you. Be somebody's godmama and goddaddy first. Test it out. But don't be afraid. You can always go back. You can always go back. If the job that you're in is not one that you really want to be in and you want to be in business for yourself, or you want a whole new career change, make moves. Stop spending money, stop buying stuff, stop eating out, save money so that when you make the move, if you need savings, you have it. Make moves. Make moves. Don't tell me you're pursuing your dream when you eating out every night. Don't tell me you're pursuing your dream when you shopping all the time. You're not pursuing your dream. You're just spending money and saying that you're pursuing your dream, but you're not. Save your money. Get rid of stuff, downsize, move to a smaller place so your rent is cheaper. If you have a house and you don't want to be up under the house anymore, sell it. Break even. As long as you don't owe, get out from under it. Do what you have to do to make moves towards your dreams. All right, I talked enough. I missed a whole lot of comments. Hold on, let's go back. M. Garcia says, Santiago learned that fate will always cooperate only with those who are in pursuit of their passion, and that as long as we keep our eye on the goal and believe, he finds comfort in the fact that his destiny has already been written. Judith says, some people live in the past and don't make any progress. I hate that. That's true. Charlotte says, it's by faith that you make it to the other side. That's true. Danielle says, that's fear. Scared to live in a vehicle. Am I preaching? I'm preaching for myself too. Freedom says, when you really want something, the universe always conspires to helping you achieve it. M. Garcia says, we will not unless we all go in. Then we will only know if it was the right choice. Jump on it. Jump in with faith. Fear is one of the hardest tests you'll face, says Joe. That's true. Charlotte says, sometimes it is not the universe that keeps us from our goal, but ourselves. That is so true. We are our own worst enemies. Yes, we are. We can be our own worst critics. We can be our own worst enemies. We can be self-saboteurs. We know, because nobody knows our weaknesses is better than we do. So we know what to say. Like the book we read last month, The Untethered Soul. It says, that inner voice, the untethered soul talks about that inner voice. That inner voice knows you better than any other living being, because it's us. It's ourself. We know ourself. We know our weaknesses. We know how to talk ourselves out of things just as easily as we know how to talk ourselves into things. Excuse me. Freedom Tribe says, it's a principle that governs all things. In alchemy is called the soul of the world. When you want something with all your heart, that's when you're closest to the soul of the world. It's always a positive force. You are so right. And Joe says, and fear is a test that will keep coming back time and time again. So learn how to face it each time. It'll get easier. That's true. You never, ever, ever, ever stop being tested by fear. That's not something I think that ever goes away. It lessens over time. The tests get shorter and the fear gets lesser. I think, and I feel like as you get older, because you've gone through stuff, you learn those lessons. And so things become a little easier as they come. You see them. Sometimes you see them before they even get fully into fruition. You can see, oh, I see what's happening here. You know what I'm saying? I see what's about to go down here. I can already tell you how this is going to turn out. I can already see the end result of this before it's even fully formed. That happens when you get older. Because I can say now at almost 47 that I can see things and be like, oh yeah, I see how this is going to turn out. I already see the ending to this situation. So I'm prepared. Because I already know what this person's going to do. I already know what this force or energy is going to do. And so I'm already ready for what's about to happen. So when it happens, there's no fear. I take it. I play my part in it. I deal with it. And I keep it moving. So it gets better. It gets easier. But it's never completely, I don't think, gone. I think there's always a hint of fear of something. Yes, M. Garcia is wisdom and life experiences bring it all together. You're afraid of everything when you're younger because you have no life experience. You have no wisdom and you don't know. You don't have that ability to know what may or may not happen. You don't have the scenarios in your mind. Well, if this happens, and I know that will come out. And if that happens, you don't have all that in there yet when you're young. And so when you're younger, there is a sense of fear in some things. But I also feel like on the other side of the same coin, sometimes you are more free when you're younger because you don't have responsibilities. You don't have the experiences. You just go out and test it and see what the heck is going to happen. So there's good and bad in being younger and having no fear and no wisdom and no preconceived, what's going to happen. And there's also pros and cons to being older and having that wisdom and having all those life experiences. There's good, and that's the beauty of living a life. Live it. Live it. Make some mistakes. Learn from them. Prepare yourself. It's amazing when you go out and actually live life and not live vicariously through YouTube channels and TV shows. And it's not bad to watch those things. But don't let that be your life. Don't let that be your life. Go live your life. Your life is out there waiting for you. Go live your life. Go live your life. Joe says, look at Santiago. How many times did he say, I'll just buy more sheep and go back? Yeah, that's what I'll do. He almost stayed at the Oasis, but he went forward. That was fear testing him. You're right. And so, but the thing about that, Joe, is that at any point he could have bought more sheep and gone back. So in a way, if he didn't want to see it through, he could have gone back. And that's what I say. Try it at least once. Try it first. The only failure is when you've not tried. You can't fail unless you try. So try it first. And if you failed miserably to the point where you're like, nope, I'm done, then you can go back. That's fine. I'm not mad at somebody who's tried something and decided it wasn't for them and went back. Okay. Maybe if you had to push a little further, it'd have got better. I don't know. But you tried it. So at least you might not have so many regrets later on when you say, well, I did try it. I tried it for a few months and, it didn't really work for me. But at least I tried it. At least you tried it, right? We can't all succeed in everything. Let's see. When we see that in folks, we call those people old souls. That's true. M. Garcia says, yes, live life because we only have one life to live. Life is to be lived and enjoyed. You are right. Me and my 9, I don't know what that means. You have to retype that. I do have a point. You do have a point, there. If you don't try, then you'll never know. Scratch it off the bucket list. That is true. I mean, if you're watching all kinds of different videos on YouTube and you're like, man, one day I'm going to do that. Like everybody always says, you're not promised tomorrow. I'm not saying you got to go out and live in your vehicle tomorrow, but can you start making steps to get there tomorrow? Can you make a list of what you need to do first and then start working on that list tomorrow? Yeah, you could do that. I'm not saying you got to go take your car right now, tomorrow, and be out on the road tomorrow. But are you making moves toward that? Are you making moves toward, and whatever it is, the video that you constantly watch, there's genre of video that you choose to watch, and I'm talking van life because that's what this channel is about. But maybe you watch a bunch of videos on technology, and you really want to get into the tech field. You have a desire, a heart, a love for all things tech. Okay, so what do you already know that can get you into tech? Can you take some community college classes maybe? Yeah, you could do that. Could you get a entry-level job at a tech company to start out? You could do that too. So are you making moves to save up money if you're going to take a pay cut to get into an entry-level job in technology? Because maybe you're making a lot more money now. Could you be saving up money right now? Yeah, you could do that. If you rent a 2-bedroom house or condo or whatever, could you live in a 1-bedroom or even an efficiency for a year or two to save money so that you could take those classes and get an entry-level job making less money? Yeah, you could do that. Make moves is all I'm saying. Make moves towards it. Just make moves. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, and I certainly believe that. And you know what? You're right. Even when you're not 100% sure of how to begin something, you can start with doing some research on it. This day and age, let me plug in the phone because the battery's getting low. This day and age, the internet is your friend. There's so much research that other people have already done that all you got to do is tap into the research that's already out there and figure out how to apply it to what it is you're trying to do. I'm just going to go on a side note here. I see I have 52 people and only 13 thumbs up. What's up with that? Can y'all hit that like button for me real quick? Appreciate it. Thank you very much. But if you can possibly make moves toward the finish line, you gotta make the first step. You know, we're not all sprinters. Some of us are distance runners. So some of us gonna take a little bit longer, and that's okay because everybody's different, and that's okay. It took me 2 years of watching HGTV and YouTube videos before I made my first move of downsizing. 2 years. Okay. It took me 2 years to say I'm really going to do this. And so I did. But that's okay. All right, let's see. M. Garcia says, follow those that are like-minded and inspire you. That is so true. Robert says, I've always considered fear to be more of a motivator than a block to progress. Thanks for the perspective. There you go, Robert. Kathy is saying Santiago knew how to access his mentors. That's true. That's true. You're right about that. And he learned from everyone who came across his path. He learned something from every person who came across his path. Even the thief. Even the thief taught him life lessons. The people that stole from him taught him some life lessons. Wayne says, years ago I read The Seed of the Soul, Heart of the Soul, Soul Stories. I experienced a evolution. I realized I was on my authentic journey because I became friends with the author, Gary Zukov. That's cool. I like that. Elizabeth is saying, before watching this, I had to think hard about what I want to do with my life. I'm already bought a recycling bin off Amazon. I created a calendar to see when I will help at homeless shelters. That's great. You're making moves. Wayne says Tuesdays with Maury, the The 5 people you meet in heaven are also the great books who affirm all that was real in my life. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Mary says, I'm dealing with life fears right now, but giving up is not an option. No, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up, but also I feel like don't pause. You can slow down, but I feel like don't pause. Don't say, well, I'm gonna put this to the side and come back to it, because most chances are you won't. So you can slow down if the fear becomes unbearable, because I know some people, speaking as someone with a mental health issue, I know some people, the anxiety happens when you start making those moves towards those things that are fearful. So slow down, and maybe instead of doing it in 5 steps, you do it in 10 steps, and that's okay. But don't pause and don't stop and don't put it to the side for later, because most likely you will never come back to it. So you can slow it down, take it at smaller chunks, smaller bites, smaller steps, but don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. Freedom says, listen to your heart. It knows all the things because it came from the soul of the world. And one day to return there. Wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. Follow your deepest passion. That's great. M. Garcia says she felt so sorry for Santiago when they took advantage of him. The story was so well written that when I read it, I could visualize where he was along his journey. Yes, this story was so well written. Like you said, like, I want to see a movie. Like, is this a movie? Can we make this a movie? How can we get a petition started? Like, we need to make this a movie. Like, I need a movie. I need a movie because I want to see all this come out. I want to see all this on a big screen. So, I don't know. Maybe it was already a movie and I missed out on it somehow. All I want to know is I need to find this in paperback so I can keep this. This book is going to be a book that I read probably at least once a year. This book, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, I do not have... Let me see. Do I have a book? I don't think I've ever had a book that I've wanted to read more than once. And like I said, I listened to this book 2 times, audio 2 times. Like, I have never done that. I don't think I've ever had another book, except for the book that we're going to read next, which, dang it, I forgot to pull it out. Okay, I'm going to have to show you a picture. M. Garcia, do you mind putting up next month's book, which starts tomorrow? So next month's book is I'm Judging You by Lovey Ajayi. Ajayi, I think it's Ajayi. And it's a fairly new book, so you're not going to be able to find any freebies on it. I'm going to try and dig out the book. It's back here in the way back, in the backpack storage area. And I can already know that I'm not going to be able to find it, but I'm going to try my darndest. I think it's underneath that bag and I can't get it. So it's a really good book. It's called I'm Judging You, the Do Better Manual by Lovey Ajayi. It's a fairly new book, and it's L-U-U-V-I-E, I believe, Lovey. Or maybe it's L-U-V-V. I don't know. So get it, let's read it, and let's talk about it. Because she speaks upon lots of things, how we, as a people of the world, can be doing better for each other, for the earth. You know, it's good. It's a good book. Yeah, I'm waiting. My Audible kicks in on April the 7th. So I get my freebie credit on April the 7th. That's when I have the actual physical book that I started reading that I've had for a while. But I want it on Audible because she reads it. I love hearing authors read their own books. So I'm going to get it on Audible on the 7th of April, the new book, because she reads it and I just love her spirit. So it's really good. Let me see. I missed a comment. Wayne was saying, there are no random events or acts. Nothing is destined to hurt, rather to nudge you in the authentic path. Everything you experience is not to necessarily help you. We are all connected. Yeah, M. Garcia, you did recommend this book, right? Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah, it's a great book. I'm glad you recommended the book. So I'm going to end this. We've been on for almost 55 minutes, exactly 55 minutes right now. So I'm going to end this because I'm tired. I don't remember how many miles we drove today, but I don't know if I could see my odometer from here. Probably not. Nope, I can't. It's too dark up there. I want to say we drove about 300 miles maybe today. And we broke it up into two trips. Most of it was done in the first trip. So I am going to call it a night. I downloaded some Hoarders. Don't ask me why I'm watching Hoarders. But I downloaded on Amazon TV for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you get some TV stuff for free, some things for free. So I said, oh, they've got Hoarders on here, Buried Alive. I'm going to watch it. So I downloaded like 7 episodes of Hoarders Buried Alive. So I'm going to chill, eat my fruit, watch me some Hoarders, and call it a night. Go to bed early probably. I took a little nap this afternoon, but I'm still quite tired. But I will be back with you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is the first day of Veda, which is video every day in April. VEDA. So you will get a video from me every single day. I'm not going to say the videos are going to be great. I'm not even going to say the videos are going to be long. I'm just going to say you're going to get a video every day, and I'm going to call it like that. There are going to be some days, especially since I'm traveling, it's going to be very difficult. Some days videos might be 5 minutes. I will tell you this, there will be a lot of live videos this month for April, because it's quick for me to just jump on, say a little live thing, and jump off. You might not get a whole lot of nice, pretty edited videos this month. Maybe once a week you'll have a nice, long, edited video. But it's all good. It's all love here, right? It's all love. It's all love. So, oh, April 7th, don't forget, the podcast is Snap Judgment. And it is podcast number 506. I listened to it yesterday. And it is called The Mercenary, and it's really good. So please listen to that and come back here on April the 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time again for that discussion. So please listen to it. It's not very long. I think it's like an hour. It's not very long. Listen to it while you're driving. Put your headphones on. Listen to it while you clean the house or something. It's really good. Snap Judgment is really good. So I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for reading the book. This was an excellent discussion. Hit me up on the email if you find a cheap paperback version of The Alchemist. HelloCrystalVanner@gmail.com is my new email. So hit me up on that. Love you guys. Bye. See you later.